Hello everyone, it is a 3-day weekend and the weather is warm. It is absolutely beautiful outside and I'm just really enjoying the weekend, and there's lots of places for me to explore in my city, and I'm hoping that you are having a great time. Today I'm looking to make some meals that I actually really enjoy having around summertime. They're super easy to make, they're delicious, they're inexpensive, and they're fun. I'm also taking you along with me as I enjoy some cuisine from a couple of different local restaurants that I've been wanting to try. To start out with, I'm making spring rolls. They're an absolute family favorite. Everybody loves these and it's perfect for warm weather. They are super easy to make and there are a lot of varieties that you can make with these. I started out making these with tofu. Today I'm just going to use veggies, but a lot of people use shrimp. I know that Walmart has the fresh shrimp for $6.23 for 10 ounces, and then they also have the frozen for just over $5 that a lot of people use and just put 1 or 2 in per roll. Now if you're going to use these as an entree, then you want to pack them pretty large and then maybe serve it with the side, but all in all this is a really inexpensive meal. To start with, these rice papers are $1.79 for 30 sheets, and then your carrots and Persian cukes. And then for this I wasn't sure whether I like bean sprouts better or the vermicelli, so I thought I would try them with both and see which ones my family prefers. Now, the little market near my house is actually, I think it's an Iranian market, but they have the best prices on veggies, and the mint was 4 for $1, so I only had to pay 25 cents for that. I have cilantro, and then these are my sauces. I have a peanut sauce and a hoisin sauce. And that peanut sauce is delicious, but it does have a little bit of a bite to it. Hoisin sauce is a staple in our house, and it's a very thick, sweet sauce, and it's great for dipping in these. These are extremely low calorie and healthy for you as well, and it's a great way to get kids to eat veggies. In fact, when my son was little, he would hardly eat any veggies, and so I used to put them in these rolls and he absolutely loved them. He would eat anything that I would put in these rolls. So I'm just going to start up by cutting the carrots, and I cut these differently depending on my mood. Sometimes I'll cut them in little thin matchsticks, and sometimes I'll slice them in strips. Right now I'm just doing a little bit of strips. So I have everything chopped and ready to go. I've got my Persian cucumbers, my carrots, I've got my mint, and I've got my bean sprouts, and then I have my cilantro. And my cilantro wasn't that awesome, but I also have my little noodles, my vermicelli noodles, as well as the rice paper. So you can kind of see how this is. It's basically little springy noodles. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to start wrapping now. And what we'll do is we'll just dip the rice paper in warm water. And one of the mistakes I made when I first started doing this is I would get I would let them soak too long and then it would be hard to handle and it would come apart while I was wrapping the rolls. If you leave it in less, then it's going to be a lot easier. So I just dip mine for maybe about 10 seconds or so until it's just pliable. And then I'll pull it out and I'll start wrapping with it. Now these, you want to put these on a dark surface because it's easier to see the roll when it's dark, and that way you can see that if you need to spread it out a little bit more. For this one, I'm using the bean sprouts, and I always top mine with the cilantro and then just roll it up. Now, there's a couple of things about these. First of all, if you're just going to eat them whole like this, then I don't put lettuce in them. But if you are going to wrap them up and cut them and you want it to be a super awesome presentation, then I use lettuce inside because it really helps to roll up your roll and keep everything together neatly. And these, I'm kind of making my rolls kind of small here. I ended up making them a little bit larger at the end. But then when you put them away to store them, you want to make sure that they're not touching each other. And I pretty much make mine for a couple of days. I'll eat them. I've eaten them as much as 2 days after I made them, and they're fine. They will tend to dry out a little bit if you leave them in the fridge too long. But so far I haven't had any problems with that because honestly they don't usually last very long because as soon as my kids see them in the fridge, they'll eat them. I do want to point out there is a difference between the noodles that you purchase. The one that I purchased is the vermicelli, and it's made of, its actual ingredients are mung bean, pea, and water. And then they also have rice sticks, which has a completely different texture. I prefer the little vermicelli made of the mung bean because it's springy and it's just super light. I really enjoy that. Here I ended up making myself some more wraps later in the week, and this time I added a little bit of lettuce to it, and I just wanted to show you how much easier it is to wrap up the spring rolls with that because you're able to pull it together. One tip that I do have for you for shopping for Asian foods would be if you have an H Mart in your area, their food is going to be a lot less expensive than if you're buying it at Walmart or another place. So it pays to know where to shop for this stuff. There are so many applications for this rice paper. I went to a dinner party at my friend's once and she wrapped mango and mint and then had a little sauce to dip it in, and it was served as a dessert course. I have been in search of the best almond croissant in my area that I can find, and today I'm trying Paris baguette. And I was here a couple weekends ago, but they were completely sold out of the almond croissants, which makes me think that they're absolutely delicious. So today I'm just checking out what they've got. I also heard that they do have super delicious strawberry croissants, which I recently tried at another place that had a line out the door all the way around the building, so I thought I would try them. The almond croissants here are only $2.95, and I was paying $5 for them at the farmer's market, which so far is the best that I've had. The strawberry croissants are $3.15, which is fine, I guess. They're kind of big. I looked at these sweet potato pastries. They were a little bit intriguing to me with the black sesame, so I think maybe I'll come back in a couple of weeks and get those. But for now, I'm sticking with the almond croissant and the strawberry croissant. And we're just going to take these outside. There's some beautiful covered patio area that we're going to sit and drink some coffee, and I'm going to have breakfast with my son. And this is what I got and what he got. And of course he had to get meat in his. He is quite the carnivore, so pretty much everything he eats has meat in it. I keep telling him he doesn't have to eat meat at every meal, but that's what he likes. So that's what we're gonna do, and we're just gonna sit here and enjoy being in this nice cool morning breeze. And this strawberry croissant was really delicious, very flaky, just very soft, very good flavor. And the almond croissant, as you can see, is very, very flaky as well. and was very delicious. I'm going to rate this the third best in my city so far. I am becoming quite the connoisseur of almond croissants. Up next, I'm making chia pudding. I love making this recipe, and every time I make it, I display it a little bit differently depending on what kind of fruit that I'm using, but usually I do use fruit. I don't use chocolate too often, and sometimes I even put protein powder in the chia to make a full balanced meal. Today I'm just using what I have on hand because I literally didn't buy anything to make my video this week. I'm just showing you what I'm eating this week. And we start out with chia seeds that I got from Walmart. I've got vanilla extract, honey for sweetener, and then I use this Almond Breeze unsweetened vanilla. You can also use milk and just add it as much sweetener as you want to the taste that you want. This is how I normally do it. I make it in a big jar and then I just eat it over a few days. By the time I made this video, this was actually what was left in the jar. So I'm going to go ahead and throw together a little dessert for myself slash dinner. Now, I do have this cacao powder, and I bought this a while ago, but I found that I'm really not using it because I tried it once with the chia pudding, but it was just too rich for me, too chocolatey. I tend to like just a little bit of chocolate on something. I also love a lot of texture, so I do have these coconut flakes on hand. I'm going to use those. I've got some blueberries still. And let's see what else I have. Oh, I have just like a few pistachios. So I'm going to chop those up for some texture. And I have this chocolate bar that I got from IKEA. I must not like it very much because that's why it's still in my refrigerator. But I think it'll be perfect to chop up. And then, of course, I always like the Ready Whip whipped cream. I always like a little bit of that with my chia pudding. And then oh gosh, I went really fast past that. The marshmallows is a secret ingredient that is super delicious. And then also these mango chunks. I always have these in my freezer. They're from Trader Joe's. I like to snack on these when they're frozen. They're super delicious. And I'm just going to chop up some slivers of frozen mango for the top of my chia pudding. And that's going to be really good. I like to use that with these. Those mangoes actually go really good in protein shakes as well. So like I said, I'm just going to start by chopping up some of the mango and get it into bite-sized pieces. I might should have chopped this up actually at the very end because I want it to stay frozen until I'm ready to eat my chia pudding. So now I'm going to chop up a few of those pistachios that I had. Any nuts will do, but I just like that little extra crunch on the top of the chia pudding. So I'm going to slice these up, and then the chocolate I kept in my fridge, so it's really firm, and it's a dark chocolate, so it's a little bit bitter, but I'm going to just chop this in little pieces and put this on the top of the chia pudding. Now, normally I don't put all of these things on top of my chia pudding. I mean, the reason I like chia pudding is because it's so versatile and you can just use whatever you have on hand. Of course, you want to display it in a nice glass dish if you have one because it looks so pretty when you layer it. But the reason I'm putting all of this extra is just to show you how pretty it looks on there. I know in retrospect what my favorite toppings were, and I can tell you it's definitely the nuts, the marshmallows, the coconut, and the chocolate. Oh, and I did love the mango as well. I was actually surprised at just how much I love the chocolate on this. The chocolate was crunchy, and it was just, it was just the perfect balance to the chia pudding. So it's amazing what you can repurpose and put in this. Anything that you have leftovers is perfect for this as well. One of the things I do a little bit different with mine is I use this whipped cream and I spray it a little bit on the top. And I just love the way that goes with the chia pudding. I also like to have a little bit with my yogurt. I just think it makes a really nice balance with my yogurt, as well as I'll put, you know, the yogurt, the granola, the fresh fruit, and then just a little bit of the whipped cream. I just love that combination. But anyway, this is really good. So I'll take a spoon and I'll just smooth it out and get rid of the air bubbles so it looks beautiful from the side when you're looking at it. And then I'll add my toppings. was inspired to use marshmallows in my dessert due to the fact that a lot of places are using flavored bobas, both in tea and also in desserts. So I was hoping to take you to another restaurant, but maybe I'll do it next week. But I do have to say that I love the texture of these marshmallows. It was just the best. I wish I would have used more. The coconut, the chocolate, the nuts, and the marshmallows were just absolutely the best. This is so delicious, and I just love this meal. You can try it so many different ways, and it is really inexpensive to make. So I do hope you like this recipe. Let me know if you try it out. And if you like my channel, please do give me a thumbs up. And oh, I almost forgot. Dried cranberries are the best on this, and also they're really delicious in salads. Now, a lot of times on the frozen bowls, they'll add dried goji berries, but I love dried cranberries probably better. I think the flavor is there, and they're a lot less expensive. So I've been trying to edit my video and get it ready to be released tomorrow when I decided to order from one of my very favorite restaurants, Nori. Now, if you've never had craft ramen, you are missing out. I will say that if you go to Nori, you will have to wait in an exceptionally long line. One of the nice things about ordering on Postmates, besides the fact that you can get some really great $15, $20, $30 off coupon codes, is the fact that they do prioritize the orders to be delivered. So you end up getting them faster than if you would go to pick up the meal yourself. So the way they serve this is they serve it in two different containers. The broth, in this case, mine is a vegan. So I have a vegan broth, which is made mostly of a miso paste and sesame. And so we have that on the bottom, and then we have the veggies separated on the top. So I'm just going to open this up and see if it's hot or if I need to microwave this. But it's actually feels really hot, and I think it's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this ready. First I'm going to try it. Yeah, that's hot. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to unpackage the noodle container. The noodles are at the bottom, and they've got broccoli on top. And I have to say, this broccoli is the best broccoli I've ever tasted in my life. It is infused with this, cooked with this garlic oil, and it just, every single bite of this has the best flavor. And it comes with tofu and a little bit of the bean sprouts and corn and some grains. So we're just gonna put this in my soup bowl, and then I'm gonna pour the hot liquid right over the top, and it's gonna soften those noodles up. Now, Nori was actually included in the Michelin Guide, and it was I think it was the only ramen restaurant in Orange County to be included in that guide. I think they just opened their second location. Anyway, this is one of my favorite meals. My kids both love it. When they order, they get the tonkatsu, which is the pork based. My oldest son said he actually prefers the flavor of this better, but he likes getting the pork. So if he ordered this for the broth, he wouldn't get the pork. But it is super, super delicious. So anyway, the heat is going to go ahead and warm those noodles back up. And then I'm going to top it with the greens. Now, there's quite a few places around that sell ramen, but this so far has been my favorite. I still do want to try a few other places, but this, I cannot imagine anything on my taste buds being more delightful than this meal right here. And I know I do have a few Orange County viewers, at least a few, and it's Nori, Hironori, and it's quite rich, so I'm actually going to have a Coke with this, which is a little bit of a splurge for me because I usually only drink this about once a week. Now, they serve this garlic chili paste with it, so I like to add that in. Oh, another thing that I was noticing about Hiranori is they actually barrel age their soy sauce for a couple of years, and soy sauce is a main ingredient in this Japanese ramen. So I don't know if that's another reason why it's so good, but it is absolutely exceptional. And I eat ramen quite a bit, so I ended up purchasing this spoon from H Mart, and it really helps when you're eating the ramen. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy, and if you ever get a chance to try a good craft ramen place, you won't be disappointed. It is just absolutely something I can't explain. It's just such an awesome phenomenon when it comes to food. Alright guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me this week. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I do hope to see you next week.